Now, after we took a look at that PlayStation 1 from GameStop, it was refurbished, which was weird because it was a retro game system that was refurbished from GameStop, and they definitely did stuff to it as we opened it up and saw the refurbishment stickers inside the system. It didn't work, but it looked great, and after a new laser, it seems to work fine now and everything, so that's good. Now, I've also been doing other retro looks from GameStop, and a lot of you have actually been messaging me saying it's helped you out because you know what looks good and what doesn't from GameStop. Some of you actually sent me messages that you also ordered some GameCube games like Metroid Prime, and they did send you the box. So cool. We'll keep looking at different things from GameStop as I see different things on the website, and I kind of come up with different ideas for them. And after seeing that refurbished PS1, I thought to myself, what other retro systems do they refurbish on their website? And this one caught my eye because it's a refurbished Slim PlayStation 2. It wasn't badly priced. I think it was like $35 or so, somewhere in there. And there was no picture. So immediately I said, okay, yeah, let's take a look at this and see what a refurbished PS2 Slim that's actually a pretty fair price gets you. I also ordered an N64 controller because I've been pretty impressed with their controller so far. And if you've bought a used Nintendo 64 controller, it's almost always bad because that stick is always messed up. I mean, it's an older system. The stick goes through a lot, especially if you've played Mario Party 1. So a lot of times I'll buy an N64 used controller expecting to have to find another joystick for it. So I haven't even opened this thing yet, so we're going to open it now actually and just see what we get together. We'll test the PS2 out. If it looks weird, we'll even open it up some and just kind of see what we get with it. So I'm actually kind of excited to see what a fairly priced PS2 from GameStop that is refurbished apparently gets you. So let me go ahead and remove the invoice real quick, and we'll jump over to the overhead camera. It's a lot of bubble wrap, which is good. It's actually like the larger, stronger bubble wrap, which is good. Let me take this guy out. Actually, I'll put this to the side as well, so we can kind of go through each little piece here, which mostly is going to be two. It's going to be this controller, which we'll look at first. This is a Nintendo 64 controller. It comes in like their red bag. It says pre-owned. N64 controller, first party used. So that looks good. And the controller. First impressions, just looking at it without touching it. It's very clean looking. That's the thing I've noticed. It's like they do clean the controllers up. Remember I got that PS2 controller. It has this little sticker. Some people left in the comments that when you have that sticker, it means that they cleaned it, refurbed it, or whatnot. I think this was, actually I have an invoice here. This was $20. So this is a $20 first party N64 controller that's used. If you get new ones, usually I think they're 15 to 20 if you want kind of the lookalike ones. So this isn't a terrible price for a first party. And I have to say right now, pressing the buttons, nothing's sticky. And the big test is this stick. You know what? That's a good feeling stick. Not much at all in terms of wiggle room with it. That's actually about what it was like when it first came out, like that kind of very small wiggle where you kind of just move the stick around a little bit. It gets really bad when it really starts leaning, and trust me, if you have a 64 and you've been using it for a while, you know what I'm talking about. It'll just like, the dead zone for it is like, it's moving around like that without actually really registering anything. That's when things are really bad. I don't notice any shavings in here. I have to say, this is a very good looking, even in here, like it's not like dirty or anything. It looks like they just outright cleaned it completely. All the screws are there. Okay. This is a good looking Nintendo 64 controller. I bought it used straight up from GameStop, and it looks like they actually did a pretty good job with it. It's clean. The stick feels good. I'll test it out later and just double check, but I have high hopes for this one. So far, the PS2 controller I got looked clean. The PS1 controller I got looks clean. Here's the 64 controller, also looks clean. So I have to at least give them some credit on their controller side. Every time I've ordered something in terms of controllers from them, retro-wise, it's looked great. So the PS2, let's see what we get here. We do have our power cord, of course. It is a slim PS2 power cord, so awesome, makes sense. Very good. We should have another cable. We do. It's like the little figure 8 cable here because, of course, we need the other end for that. The Slim PS2 was like a double power cord. Like it has a power cord and then it also has to plug in here to run to the wall. That looks great. The controller. Let's see. We get another controller here. Is this not a DualShock? It feels light. Like it feels like there's no. Like, the PS2 controllers had rumbles in that, rumble motors. I'm almost positive they did. This feels extremely light. So I'm a little confused about that one. Like, I remember that these are supposed to be heavier. I don't think there's a rumble motor in this. Like, right? They're supposed to have rumble motors. That's weird. Maybe I'll come back to this one. I'll come back to that. That's a little odd. That's throwing me off a little bit. AV cables, of course. Yep, these are the first-party Sony ones. Awesome. And then we have our PS2 Slim. So, looking at the PlayStation 2 Slim, first glance, it looks... Obviously, there's like scratching and stuff, especially on like the glossy part. I mean, you can't really do much about that. Looking around it though, both doors are on the front. It pops open correctly. Laser looks good there. Closes. We do have our sticker here too, and they've even dated it. 12/27/18. So this is actually a fairly recent, very recent actually, system that's come in, it looks like. And they've pretty much sealed off where you would open it. Because when I open it, it's gonna come apart there at the top. It does have the sticker here. It looks like it's got the little void words kind of shining through, which means that it has been opened before, which I would expect it because it's supposed to be refurbished. So I guess let's plug it in and check it out. I'm still, like I said, this is still blowing my mind, this controller. It is like so light. It feels like a third-party controller. It feels like there's nothing in here. Obviously there is, but it feels like a third-party, you know, one of those junky third-party controllers. It just feels like it's missing rumble motors. It's very weird. I also noticed it doesn't say DualShock up here. I'm almost positive this said like DualShock 2 up here. It's been a while since I've had like one of these PS2s and everything, because I use like a PS3 for all of that. But like I'm almost positive you said, let's say like DualShock 2 up here and everything. All right, so we're at the menu, browser, system configuration. There's not much really to look at here. So let me go back, and I have all three different disc types to check. So PS1, of course, PS2 with like the DVD bottom, and then there was also, of course, the CD bottomed, or the CD with the blue bottom games for the PS2. That one generally can trip up the system, so we're going to try all of them, just double check. But it does turn on and everything. I can hear the fan spinning, so that's good. We'll start with, I guess, the standard PS2 game, Jak and Daxter. This one came from a Gamestop as well. So let's see how this reads and everything. Go into the browser here and just double check. Sounds like it's spinning up. There it is. All right, cool. So let's go in here. I do remember the Slim PS2 would read pretty quick. That was actually a really cool thing about it. It would fire up much faster than like the older, larger models. So this is reading no problem, which is good. I should have another DualShock I can actually compare this to, by the way, because I'm a little curious about this one now. This feels weird, this controller. Yeah, it looks good. You can hear it reading and everything. Awesome. So PS2 disc is good. Good to see. Just old school Naughty Dog. Let me go back to the menu here, and we'll grab. We'll try the PS1 game next, as a lot of people buy these, of course, to also play PlayStation 1 discs. So let me go ahead and drop this guy in here. This is the World Is Not Enough. That's the one we tested with the PS2 after we placed the laser. Go into the browser on that as well. Oh, look at that. That's there like right away. Very nice. This is looking good so far. Both PS2 and PlayStation 1 both working. Very nice. And the other one we'll test obviously is the blue bottom disc to make sure it reads. But if it reads all three of these, that's a solid PlayStation 2 Slim, and then the N64 controller is good as well. We'll go ahead and pop the lid off here to see if, I don't know, maybe it's a new laser or something in here, which would be really cool to see that. Just to take it apart and just quickly see what's going on in there. Let's go ahead and reset and now pop the blue bottom disc in. And just make sure it reads all three different PS2 game types, or PlayStation types, that this can play. Browser. Yeah, look at that right away. This is Crash Bandicoot Wrath of Cortex. Read that very quickly. You can hear it spinning up and reading. Yeah, there it is, PlayStation 2. Wow, this is a good working PS2 Slim system, I have to say. I wasn't 100% sure how it would go over because there was no picture on the site. It was a refurbished and everything. Seems good. So yeah, let's pop the top off. I'm actually going to compare this, like I said, to the other DualShock 2 I have as well. Okay, so on the right is a DualShock 2 controller that I know is like straight up legit and everything. It is heavier. It has DualShock 2 written on the top there. This one is much lighter and it has no DualShock 2 on the top, which is weird. It makes me think that maybe this is an aftermarket controller with like a different shell on top, but it has Sony imprinted on the back, similar to this one. Actually, exactly the same. But it's so much lighter. I don't really know what happened with that. I don't know. Let me go ahead and... It doesn't take much to get this apart. A couple screws out of the back, and then we can actually just double check. It just feels like there's no rumble motors in here. So yeah, there we are. I took it off. No rumble motors. That's weird. I wonder why that is. Yeah, usually you would have some sort of... you'd have rumble motors on these sides here. You can actually just feel... This one's just so much heavier, and I know it has them. You can actually kind of tell that they're there. This is just a very light controller. I don't know if they ever did controllers that didn't have rumble motors in them with the PS2. I don't recall really coming across any first-party Sony ones that did not have that, unless they just did something that was not DualShock controller related. I don't know. That's very weird to see this one. I don't really know what to make of it. But yeah, this one, no rumble motors. It also doesn't technically have DualShock printed on the top, so I guess they're technically not advertising it as one. It's a weird thing to see. I don't know. Let me know if you've seen this down in the comments. Let me know if you've seen this with like a PS2, I guess a Slim. I mean, this technically could have been a PS2 controller from any system, and it was just, you know, like it could have been one of the larger ones or something that was paired with this one, but I don't know. It's odd. Let me know if this actually was a thing back then. All right, now onto the PS2 Slim. Let's go ahead and flip this guy over. The PS2 Slim is actually a pretty easy system to take apart. There's a couple pads on the bottom that we have to remove. That foot there's a foot up here we have to remove, and then there's also one under this void sticker, but for the most part this really doesn't take a lot to get into. I gotta cut through this guy still. There we go. Okay, so that's cut. This should open up now, and we should have a look at the inside here. Alright, so there we go. We are in. I'm just kind of looking around just to see if there's anything obvious going on in here, but it doesn't look like much has been done to it, to be honest. I'm thinking they probably didn't have to do a lot to this. Like, everything looks normal. There's not a lot going on in the PS2 Slim. There really isn't. I mean, they have this little fan here, little heat sink. Of course, our disk drive here is pretty much just that. It's pretty straightforward assembly. Laser moves back and forth. We have our arm that actually will move the laser as it rotates as the system needs it. And then we have our spindle. There's no disk tray that comes out and goes back in or anything. Top loaders generally will stick around a bit longer than the disk drive, or disk trays, only because there's less moving parts to it. But I don't think they had to do much to this system. I think it just worked. They cleaned it a bit, threw a sticker on the back, because there's still like dust and dirt and stuff in here. As we see there. So there's not a lot that took place inside. So I think this was just a good working system. The laser looks stock. There's no, usually have stickers and stuff on the laser, generally underneath where this ribbon cable is. But even that looks pretty stock, because it usually, what they would do is they would stick the ribbon cable down to the metal on the bottom. And that way it would stay out of the way from this guy moving back and forth. That way it wouldn't get caught up and the laser would literally run over and cut it. So everything just looks like how it should look. This is just overall a good PS2 Slim. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is a refurbished PS2 Slim straight from GameStop. It was a bit of a chance to take on this, as there was no picture, it was refurbished and everything, but hey, I have to give him credit. Outside of that weird controller situation where I don't even know what that was, the PS2 controller that didn't have rumble motors, and that was an odd thing to see. But other than that, the system itself works well. It reads all three discs the same way as they should, where they all pop up right away, right? And everything's good there. The thing that's really blowing my mind is their used controllers that I've ordered separately from everything. So this silver one was one, if you remember, that I ordered from them that works great. Like, it's really nice looking, works great. But the N64 controller, that was to me like the big test. And it's a good looking controller. I have to give them credit there. That is, they do a good job with that. It seems, at least for now, their controllers are good. So if you need, I guess if you need a new controller for your older systems, it seems so far anyway, from what I've seen, GameStop is pretty safe when it comes to that. So hey, good on them. I'd like to get obviously good stuff when I order from them, so I'm glad to see that. And so far, we've had some relative luck with them. The GameCube games were all right, except for, like I said, I got one wrong one, and the PS1 had a bit of an issue, obviously. But otherwise, PS2 Slim looks good. Let me know what you guys think about the PS2 Slim from GameStop refurbished, or the N64 controller, because I know a lot of people look for these in good shape. And maybe I got lucky, but I'm getting a lot of good controllers from GameStop. So let me know what you guys think down below. Make sure you like the video if you liked it, dislike if not. And I'll see you guys in the next video.